Welcome to this episode of Say It with Scott, where we look at how the words you use influence the people who read them. I'm Scott Sery. I'm a copywriter, and I'm a lover of how I can take a word here and there, twist it around just a little bit, and dramatically change the entire message that I'm sending. This episode is brought to you by Strategic Advisor Board and by my company, Sery Content Development. So one of the biggest things that you want to do with any content or copy that you happen to be writing is to stop and make your readers think a little bit. This is going to slow them down, it's going to get them more engaged and drawn into what you're writing about, and ultimately make them trust you a bit more and hopefully turn into paying clients. This can be done in 3 ways that I can think of right off the top of my head. There's tons more ways that you can kind of weave this in there. These are some of the 3 biggest ways to do this. First of all, I've mentioned it before, and it's to tweak your headlines just a little bit so it drives more clicks and gets people engaged. One of the hardest things is taking somebody that's just scrolling through something, they're searching through Google results, they're scrolling through their social media, and getting them to stop enough to click to go to your website. So I used the example before that I wrote an article about the ice caves of the Pryor Mountains. I had titled it something like, Explore the Ice Caves of the Pryor Mountains. Luckily, my editor was a little bit more on top of it. They tweaked it just a little bit and said, Discover the ice caves of this Montana mountain range. It was just clickbaity enough that it wasn't full-on clickbait, but it made people stop. They had to think. They're like, I know some ice caves. I wonder if it's the ones I'm thinking of. They click in. Now they're into the article. Oh, I'm here. I might as well finish reading this thing. So the first way to make people stop and think, tweak your headline so you're not giving away all the information all at once. So the second way you can stop and make people think is when you're writing copy, when you're explaining why somebody really needs your product or service, you have to kind of stop and make them think about their own life. However that looks, you need to make them think, what if I had this product or service? How would my life look then? How much better would it be? Alternatively, you can make them think, how much worse off am I without this product or service? They're kind of 2 ends of the same spectrum. They all drive towards the same goal. You want them to finish reading, learn about why you're awesome and why their life will be awesome with what you offer them, and ultimately they click and become a paying client. Now, the third way to stop and make people think is to kind of weave some of this stuff throughout all of your writing. If you've ever watched a movie, you see this in action. Movies don't ever identify the character, set up the plot, and then say, it was resolved this way. Think about like Star Wars. The bad guys, the Empire, they're, attacking the rebels, and there's this big conflict, and what if they just set it up and then they said, the second act of the movie, they're like, okay, we're gonna go blow up the Death Star, and then they did it, and it's all done. Now they give you little bits and snippets. You learn about Princess Leia, then you learn she's Luke's sister, and then you learn a little bit more. So you're thinking the whole way along, you're trying to guess at what's coming up. If you can do that in your content and your copywriting, that's what will take you from, here's what I do, you should buy from me, to, here, let me weave this story for you, draw you in, think about how this is going to be for you. Here's how we can make this all come to fruition. You just need to sign up for our newsletter. You need to buy now. You need to give me your information. Whatever you happen to be, that's where you want to draw people towards. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Say It with Scott. I hope you found some inspiration and education you can use in your own business. As usual, if it doesn't make sense, if you don't want to do it, or if you're struggling to make people think the way you think they should think, hit the links in the description below. Reach out. I'd be happy to help. Before you go, like, comment, and subscribe so you get notifications every time Strategic Advisor Board posts great new content.